Welcome back, everyone. It is episode 26, Wednesday, February 16th of Beast and Boys Sports Talk with Marcus and Silas. And today, we have a great episode for you today. We have Super Bowl 56, NFL offseason, the Harden Simmons trade, UFC 271, and the intermural recap. And let's just start off. LA Rams is your Super Bowl champions.
Cooper Kupp's your Super Bowl MVP.
Yep.
That was called on the show. You heard it here first.
Yeah,
that was one of my prop bets. I said Cooper Kupp.
I wanted it. It was like the heart, but it was like, no way.
In last week's notes, it said Cooper Kupp MVP in quotations Eastern bias, but
yeah, dude, the whole game was literally Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. Like
it was like, I mean, that's kind of been the story though. It's like you're either double teaming Aaron Donald all game and letting Von Miller and defense work, or you're double teaming Cooper Kupp all game and someone else is working. Like,
and it's just funny seeing people now like who's all over the Chase like draft pick. Like, yeah, we love it. We love like they needed to like get Jamar Chase, and now they're making memes of like you should invest in the line. Like, I've always kind of been like invest in the line, but it's like
it was a good idea. But in their case though, like you're not making the Super Bowl without Chase. Like, one left tackle is not bringing you to the Super Bowl.
Definitely a factor, but it's like that whole offseason, like, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, like, you could have made improvements on your roster.
Yeah.
On the line.
There's no excuses, really, even, because, I mean, they're so bad.
That last drive, the hit on Burrow, the drive before the last, it looked like it was total ACL tear.
Yeah, and
like you saw how you saw in slow-mo, he's screaming. It's like, that doesn't look, that's like either torn MCL or something really bad happened. Like, that's not good, and it just shows like if you're going to the Super Bowl and you have to verse Von Miller and Aaron Donald, who's now arguably totally biased. I think top two greatest defensive players of all time, like most dominant. It's just hard with those stats and almost like 8 Pro Bowls in 8 years.
It's a crazy
straight.
1-2 punch.
Yeah, and he's been doubled with those stats. Like almost every year he's been...
And he's the highest double percentage in the NFL.
Three-time Defensive Player of the Year, almost 4, I think.
And it could be more. At some point, you just stop giving him to the same person every year. Like
it's just like, obviously his stats diminished because he's double-teamed every single play. It's just hard to do that, but... I've been Sean McVay calling it at the very last play, like, this is Aaron Donald right here.
Well, and I love it, and Eric Weddle said the same thing, that they... I mean, it happened, it's how they made it to the Super Bowl, and it's how they basically won it.
Yeah, and look at Eric Weddle, literally gets signed out of retirement.
Yeah.
And then at the Super Bowl, he's their main play caller.
He's calling plays. So that's what I said, was it 5.5 weeks ago, he was at home coaching his son's football team.
Yeah.
And then he comes in, starts, calls plays, and then not only just does all of that, but tears his pec in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And was in severe pain and playing through it. And then wins it and retires.
Yeah.
That's just one of the coolest stories I've ever seen. That's so cool.
Yeah, and then Andrew Whitworth and Aaron Donald, potential retirement.
Yeah.
The Aaron Donald thing kind of shocked me, but now he won the Super Bowl. I think it's like the best way to go out.
So, but he's 30.
Yeah, he's only 30.
But he's someone else who also, I mean, I know he's been good his whole career, but he's someone who, as he kept playing, he's gotten better. I mean, we've seen it over the last 4 years. It's like, this is his prime, and I'd say this year is probably the best we've seen. Yeah. Like, it's not even stats-wise. Like, I'm just saying, like,
impact.
Watching the game, getting doubled, getting sacks after getting doubled.
You don't watch every NFL game like the Rams, where it's like, there's like a 2-minute segment of like, look what Aaron Donald's been doing all game. And it's not even he's getting sacks.
It's him like this, pushing 2 dudes back.
The entire line is like just collapsed.
And then every time he's on one-on-one coverage, he's either pushing the lineman back or he's going directly around.
It wasn't like wishy-washy teams like last year or something, like versus the Cowboys' amazing O-line. He's just destroying them all.
And that's a really good point, because it's not just against Bengals linemen.
49ers.
It's like we're talking like Trent Williams and like
Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers O-line. Like, I mean, very, very good. This isn't... Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
But, it'll be sad to see Aaron Donald retire, obviously. Cause
it would.
It's such a fun player to watch. It's hard to be like a fan of a defensive player, because it's always easy to root for offense, because they always make the big plays. But man, it's just watching Aaron Donald.
If you love like the art of the game, I think it's easier to like defensive players, like to enjoy watching Micah Parsons, enjoy watching Bobby Wagner, enjoy watching Jair Alexander. Like, it's easier to love it when you're like. When you pay attention to more than like the play, than like, oh, it's a run play. Okay, but like, what did the interior lineman do to make it go 0 yards? Like,
It's ridiculous. He's just a disruptor, and with the size. And shout out to Rams, dude. Like they said they're all in. They're all in, and they went out, got Von Miller, and then they got OBJ. I mean, OBJ baller. He got his touchdown. He got unfortunately probably towards ACL, which is really sad to see. Really hard for
second time in 16 months of the same knee.
Yeah, and he might probably be out next year. Yeah, all of next year. So, but he's such a great player. Like it just shows, he's such a great player.
Yeah,
and Cleveland didn't.
No,
use him.
He proved so quickly how he wasn't the problem. That was my favorite part. The first game, he was like, "I'm not the problem." Like you could tell.
Cooper Kupp was telling him "Hey, this is what you got to do," and dude, he got 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then 7 in the Super Bowl. He's a baller. And it'll be, hopefully he re-signs with the Rams. He maybe a deal, sweet deal, but it'll be interesting with that knee.
I'm curious. I would say no on the Rams, mainly because of their salary cap issue.
Yeah.
But it'll be really interesting to see. It's not something that's going to have an impact for a year, which sucks, but I'll be curious where he goes and how much the money is, knowing that the best he could come back is maybe playoffs.
Yeah.
And that might be pushing it because it's the same knee again. You can't have it happen again.
And then I guess
I would like to fire it off because I know exactly what you're going to say.
Before we talk about the Bengals, we got to finish all the Ram talk. Matthew Stafford, this is a hot topic already.
I don't think it is.
Hall of Fame or not, Richard Sherman came out and said he's not. And
it's not just Sherman because every show in America on Monday was trying to say he is.
Yeah. So, personally, I do believe. I mean, obviously, I don't think right now, but Stafford
he has to win another.
Stafford is 34 right now, and as we've seen now in today's era of quarterbacks, you can go for a while. So he at least has 34 and 4 more years
if he chooses and he's healthy. And
plus all those years with Detroit, how banged up he was and still balling out he was personally, statistically. He can definitely go another 4 more years at LA. But I mean, when it's all said and done, let's say in 4 years, he's going to be top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in touchdowns, and he's already a Super Bowl winner. He already got it.
So my first, I have a few. I think he's so far from an MVP. And I think if he's a Hall of Famer, we're just gonna hand it out to every person that's ever made anything good. Give Eric Weddle a Hall of Famer. If that's the level we're at. But the two big things, I think, one Pro Bowl. There is no excuse. That is a singular position. He had too many years in Detroit to prove he could make a Pro Bowl to make one Pro Bowl. First of all, no All-Pros. So never in his career has he been the greatest quarterback on any team ever. That alone to me is cross off the list. And then he didn't win Super Bowl MVP, which for a good reason. Cooper Kupp just put up the greatest receiving season in the history of the NFL. But if you've never been the best quarterback in the league, you didn't win MVP when you won a Super Bowl, you have one Pro Bowl, so even the fans couldn't even call you a top 6 quarterback. That's top 7 even every year. I just think it's silly, and I think if we're going to let people like that in... I think if he stays in LA for 3 more years and they make the playoffs, they could lose in an NFC Championship game, but if he proves he can actually be dominant for 3 more years, I will just... I'd consider it, but right now, Matt Ryan has an MVP. We don't... There's no awards to go with it. It's just you played good in Detroit, and then we built this Madden team that walked you into the Super Bowl when you played not so good for a lot of games.
Yeah. He'll probably get a contract extension this season, but if he has 4 more years, I could definitely see more Pro Bowl appearances.
Yes.
Though in his Lions career, as I'm saying, the only season what really jumped out is especially 2011, where he had 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 16 picks.
16 picks?
Yeah.
So yeah.
He's a gunslinger, really.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying though. He's a gunslinger, and so many of those yards came from Calvin Johnson. And then the one most successful year is a bought team that won't exist next year. It won't. Those pieces won't be there. And that's what it took. It took almost losing to the Bengals with a crazy good defense to.
At the same time, with the whole Pro Bowl thing,
doesn't matter as much.
I'm really not. The MVP, it's very narrow. It's a lot
MVP
of winning.
and All Pro though is dude, you have to have one of those two. Yeah. You can't not have All Pro.
At the same time, it also translates to wins, and he's never really been
in
a winning. It's the Lions. I mean, he tried so hard, and you saw how many fourth quarter comebacks he's had. It's just like he's never. I personally believe he's just never been in the best situation. His talent is through the roof. It's just he's never been in the quite best situation.
And I agree,
but also he has to capitalize when he was with Megatron. Like
that's what I'm. I think that at some point the quarterback. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks carry terrible teams. I mean, so like here's a perfect example. Wilson, he's been to 2 Super Bowls, but has won 1. Doesn't have an MVP. Has 5 Pro Bowls. I don't believe he has an All-Pro. He might have 1 All-Pro. I really don't believe he has an All-Pro. So do you think he's an instant Hall of Famer? Because I don't think that's. I think comparing the two of them is a quite silly argument. But like, do you think with his resume now, both of them retire, who gets in and who doesn't? Because Wilson has the awards. Wilson has a Super Bowl. He doesn't have a Super Bowl MVP like we talked about. But he has the Pro Bowl, and he has more years of showing that he's a better quarterback, at least. Yeah. But I don't think right now he should get in. I think right now you have more years to prove to.
Yeah. I feel like definitely, at least in 3 years, I could definitely see Matthew Stafford solidified in the Hall of, at least first ballot.
I think it takes an MVP or another Super Bowl. Though.
It's just kind of the basis of the Hall of Fame, though. It's like once you get top like quarterback, if you get top 10 of yards and touchdowns. You're in a suit. At least you have a Super Bowl. Yeah. You're gonna be it.
I just think that's what they're trying to take away, though. Is you can't have. He's had 1.
Because
this is
the funny thing. I'm gonna say it's not like I've never been a fan of him. Well, but Eli Manning.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
But he won multiple Super Bowls.
It's gonna anger a lot of people.
He's completely better than Matthew Stafford in every way, shape, and form. When he peak Eli versus peak Matthew Stafford, I really just think so. I mean, We'll watch the old games. He's not that good. I promise you, dude. We've said 6 times on this show this year. Yeah, Matthew Stafford sucked again, 2 picks, but guess what? Their defense is good. You can't, you can't get in there on a bought defense, man. He has more to prove. Yeah. Right now, I think it's a joke to think that he would make it in, though. Like if he retired today, I don't think he can make it in the Lions Hall of Fame. Sure, like.
Yeah, it's gonna be so interesting, so interesting.
Well, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks that retired this decade. That it's like.
It's just with, he's still just with this era of quarterbacks, and with modern medicine and how quarterbacks are transitioning their diet and recovery. It's like he's gonna thrive. I feel like no matter what within this offense. Yeah. With Sean McVay. I'm curious with Cooper Kupp.
I'm curious what they do next year though, because next year with no Vaughn, no OBJ, no Eric Weddle, you're gonna lose another dude on defense. If they don't win 2 playoff games, I think we need to reevaluate that conversation and talk about how it's unfair for one season to define a Hall of Fame career. But
also, just to cap off the whole Rams stuff, Cooper Kupp, obviously Super Bowl MVP. Jerry Rice was Super Bowl MVP. He won a Super Bowl, obviously, Triple Crown, led the league in receiving yards and all that. Throughout his career, Cooper Kupp did this in 1 year.
1 year.
This is the greatest. This is the greatest
receiving season in the history of the NFL. Yeah, correct.
With bias or not, you can't take that away.
It's funny because you could say bias because we go to school here and work for this football team, but you pull up the stats and you read them in order, and it's
accolades, offensive player. Oh yeah,
offensive player of the year, Super Bowl MVP, Triple Crown winner in 1 year. Yeah. I don't think it's debatable. No. I really don't.
No. 21 touchdowns or something? It was insane.
First team All-Pro. Yeah.
Ridiculous. The best wide receiver year of all time. Of all time. Yeah,
it's really not debatable though. When you win, and he's the first Eastern Washington football player ever to win Super Bowl MVP.
First Big Sky
player. First Eastern player ever to win Offensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl MVP, and to get a Triple Crown. Yeah. And to get first team All-Pro.
And that's why you should all the recruits should go to Eastern Washington. Come on.
Hit the DM, Marcus.
Congrats Rams and Bengals. I don't think
jump to that real quick.
I mean, it's such a great story.
It is
such a great run.
It is
seriously, and I think they'll be back within the next 3 years. I think they'll be back.
I think that's fair
because I told this to Marcus. I saw they're ranked 4th with the most cap going in this offseason. They have such a young team and Gronk says he wants to come in. He's the only quarterback outcome.
Gronk to come in, fix an O-line. I think they're in the AFC Championship at Buffalo next year. That's my I really think that's
totally capable. get a cornerback because I've never seen a player in the history of NFL get so hated like Eli Apple.
By players, retired coaches, by the media.
A whole state.
A state!
Dude, a whole state. Dude, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
It's funny because we talked about it like 3 times already, how Eli Apple's so
A lot
trash.
of blue check marks. A lot of blue check marks. Okay.
No, that was the best part. It's funny though because all the players talking shit to him basically were like, they're all players that lost to them. Like Eli Apple would get burnt by Tyreek Hill and then go talk trash on Twitter. It's like you won, but like you didn't win. Like
not really.
Not really. Like your team won.
And you just let up the biggest play of
so
the game.
Bad. Dude, I remember watching him in New York though. Like I think it was 35-0. It was Seahawks Giants in like 2014 a game I went to. And it literally was like, where's Eli Apple? Because Lockett and Sidney Rice are just gonna burn. He's so bad.
I do think that the biggest turning point, I feel like, it was a little bit early in the game, was the pick from Jesse Bates, and then the one player who Hargraves or something.
Yeah.
He's not even in uniform, and he runs across the field.
Yeah.
Like they just won the Super Bowl.
I know.
That's the thing. It's just like, it's just discipline. The better discipline is gonna win. And there wasn't a whole lot of penalties.
It was a really clean game, which I really enjoyed.
It's funny when you see like so many fans like NFL rigged. It wasn't PI. It wasn't blah blah. It's like
it wasn't PI. The other Jalen one should have been PI.
Yeah. And then it's like you can't just not every single game you can just rip the refs. It
happens every game, but there's a minimal amount of times where it's justified.
Because like the Jalen Ramsey face mask on the touchdown was like, it was an obvious touchdown. I mean, obviously a face mask, but it just wasn't called. It's like there's things what they're gonna miss.
And it's probably, I agree, there's ups and downs like that. That sucks.
And that's the human nature of it.
But it's the human nature of it. It's why we don't have robots that can throw that and call it back.
It wouldn't be fun.
I think it's something that I think the NBA does even better. When you watch the NBA Finals, it literally takes a slap on the hand to call a foul. It takes bodying someone on a layup.
And they just hardened the fouls this year.
Yes,
which I think made the NBA more enjoyable. So it's not hard having 11 free throws.
In regular season Super Bowl, regular season compared to Super Bowl, some of the biggest complaints was how the refs were calling things. We saw that all season long about. Why is there so many holding penalties? We talked about it all playoffs.
Yeah.
We couldn't watch a playoff game. It took 4 hours. It was brutal.
The
it
Bengal
was
and
4 hours.
Raiders game, I will never
It was 4 hours long.
It was the worst.
Like, we stopped it, man, to do homework. And came back and watched 3 minutes of football and 23 minutes of commercials. Yeah. And we're like, oh my gosh.
It's hard. It was hard to watch. And
yeah.
Hopefully the NBA kind of works on that this offseason. I think that's going to be a big thing they imply. Yep. And it'll definitely get better. But it was a fun Super Bowl to watch. It was just not a whole lot of penalties. It was a clean game. Obviously, there's going to be missed plays because that's just human nature and it's fun for debate. Honestly.
Yeah, and I think so just something else just because it just popped in my head too. On the 4th and 1, when Donald gets to him, which I don't think it was technically a sack because the ball came out.
No, yeah.
Which is funny because that's the same thing that happened versus the Niners. It wasn't technically a sack, but he literally ended the game. It wasn't a throwaway pass. He ended the game both times.
He's just so dominant. It's so fun. I'm such a big
Aaron
Donald
fan.
It's like, dude,
he's so nice too. He's like a little teddy. He's jolly.
Because he works his ass off.
Yeah,
you know he works so hard.
If he's coming back, man, he'll be getting ready for next season in 2 months. He's does not. But what I was saying was that on that play, the worst part is when Burrow's rolling out. You have Jamar Chase running a streak route up here with Jalen Ramsey on the ground.
Yeah.
So that's I'm just trying to throw it out there to you guys who may have not gone back and seen little things like that. But quite honestly, if Donald doesn't get there, that's a touchdown, and the Bengals win the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think that's a question. Yeah. If he's not there and Burrow gets 1 second to set feet and throw, it's over. Jalen's on the ground and Jamar's running in, and this is a different storyline. But when you have that X factor, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's just a game record.
Game changer.
Seriously, easily. I keep wanting to say most dominant player of all time. Seriously, I'm obviously it's modern in our era. It's just watching it real time is just I
think at least in our lifetime, I don't think it's debatable because we saw the very end of a Ray Lewis or of a Troy Polamalu, but never saw peak. But if this modern NFL,
he is easily number one. It's also maybe the best NFL player this like easily.
Yeah, no, and I like when I think it's stupid sometimes, but I like when some shows do top players in each game overall, and like even when you do NFL top players, I think it's really unfair to not have him at 1.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing? Like if you're not having him at 1, what are we doing?
Yeah, because you just watch them just destroy games single-handedly. Yeah, I mean, speaking about hard work, do you want to just go into off-season about Kyler Murray?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, it's not a whole lot to talk about. Nothing's really happened. He's just...
there's like reports, what kind of came out, how he's not a team player. He calls his girlfriend at halftime, plays Madden or video games, and he's not a come in early, go out late type of guy. I don't know. It seemed a lot like an Aaron Rodgers kind of like blanket allegation stuff. It was like, oh, this is the new guy we have to...
So with something like Kyler, though, and I'm going to say something else after, but would it not be in his best... If that is completely BS, wouldn't some Cardinals player tweet that?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there, and obviously most of them are probably like, dude, I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I mean, Kyler Hass, I don't care how bad everyone hates him, there's 52 dudes on the team. There's no way all of them hate him.
No.
You would think that if that was complete BS, someone would tweet... I mean, you see it. You see names all the time, like literally tag, that's BS, that never happened. Like, you see KD do it in the NBA, like, it would make no sense. And then listening to McAfee talking about it, can't remember who they had on, but they were talking about how things like that are never mentioned in the regular season because if it works, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're literally like an 8-game win streak before Packers.
But if put me in Cliff Kingsbury's shoes, I'm not letting my quarterback call his girlfriend at halftime. I'm not letting my quarterback go sit in a different... I don't care. Like, I would start Carson... I'd start the backup. It's more of a...
He's a baller. He's such a baller.
Yeah, but... I mean, if that's true, and Cliff Kingsbury's nuts for letting him do that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Kyler... I mean, it could be one of two things. He could just be, I'm going to clear the social media. Or it could be like, I'm going to very quietly demand a trade, and you guys aren't going to know anything about it until I leave. Like,
it would be... I don't know. I really don't believe all those allegations.
Dude, he has his quarterback.
Yeah.
He has J.J. Watt. He has DeAndre Hopkins. Or he has his coach, and all... It's like... If he leaves now, dude, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry.
They just need to build a better O-line.
So here's
so he doesn't have to run like a mile before.
Here's two silly things. What do we think about Carson Wentz, Kyler, straight up, or Carson Wentz in a second rounder because he's old?
No.
Well, the only
Kyler
trade
is he's just like.
No, I know, but
just running. It's not like he tries to scramble. He's like almost like Russell Wilson, where he just tries to extend the play. He wants to throw the football.
Yes,
and it's funny. It's like people are like painting this narrative like he doesn't really care about football. It's like, bro, he declined going in the MLB draft to go play football.
Yeah,
and he could make significantly more money.
He was the first player. He was the third pick in the baseball and won. And
he goes, no, I'm gonna go play football, where he could easily make 10 times more money.
Yeah, and that argument's always been made, but I completely disagree. So baseball, just the minor league system. He could make more money when 6 years from now, but when the offer was made, it was like an MLB offer, but he still has to go through 8 years of minor league. But I mean, what do you think about? I really think it's a comedy thing to even ask. But what do you think about the people that think he's literally just going to go play baseball? Because he's good enough, man. Where if he's worked on this in the offseason, he's good enough. Well, he'll be one step under, and he could literally be a swing player on an MLB roster.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's that talented. You never seen him play baseball.
I mean, and people are like, well, he doesn't come in early and he doesn't come out late. It's like, I mean, it's not like you can't just tell a guy go do that. It happens naturally.
It happens naturally,
and it's just how bad do you want that?
I love it, and like we have guys on our football team, like Nolan's perfect example of someone that no one works harder than that kid, but that doesn't work for everyone.
No.
There are people that it sounds weird to say because I don't want to say like work less hard, but there are people who are successful coming in and leaving and doing their own thing and training.
Everyone has their own
and watching
routine.
film at home. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
People have it, people don't have it.
Yeah,
seriously, that's just what it comes down to.
So I think it's unfair. to nitpick that specifically. I think if he's calling his girlfriend and playing video games at halftime and not caring actually, then this is a different story.
But
that's not what I'm
it's all allegations, and I mean, no player from the Cardinals said it's facts or.
But no one's I'm not worried about that. It's no one.
JJ came out
and stood up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say, but it means a little less coming from JJ just because he wasn't. I mean, he was going through rehab and surgery and wasn't there. It's interesting to me. You would think that he would have lots. If it's completely BS, so many people should be standing up for him. But
yeah, What else?
He's
NFL.
gonna.
I think that's NFL offseason.
Yeah.
So far, can't really think of anything else. But after recorded last week, day after.
Day after.
Harden and got traded to 76ers for Ben Simmons, basically.
Mm-hmm.
People were there's
and Seth Curry.
Seth Curry,
some of the highest three-point shooter in the.
People were like, "Oh,
Andre Drummond.
76ers won that trade," or "Brooklyn got fleeced," and all this. I seriously think it was a fair trade.
I think
it was.
Harden didn't want to be in Brooklyn. Simmons didn't want to be in Philly. I don't even know who. I really think saying that the Sixers won the trade is silly unless we're just running ISO 2017 James Harden basketball with Embiid getting rebounds. Like, I mean, the offense still is going to go through the best. Like, they'll lead the person who's favored to win the MVP, which is Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, Sixers get to keep that Therese.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah. No.
Oh wow, Maxey.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Matisse
baller.
Thybulle.
Yeah, Matisse Thybulle.
Kid from UW.
Yeah, he's great. And they got prolific shooter James Harden to pair with Joel Embiid. I think that would be a great match. Whereas, I mean, once Brooklyn Nets are healthy, once maybe the mandate for New York gets.
I think we're getting closer to seeing that happen. I really do.
Very close.
With every state kind of lower. Yeah,
you're gonna have
really close.
Shooter of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
And then ideally, I mean, not the biggest Steve Nash as a coach fan, but like ideally Ben Simmons fits in somewhere like underneath.
Yeah.
Like
he doesn't need. It's a perfect situation where it's like you don't need him to go shoot a 3 right now.
Dude, having Kyrie and KD too, we're not like he could go like because my biggest hate on him his whole career is like he sure gets paid a lot of money and does a lot of like he sure gets paid a lot and gets a lot of respect for someone who averages 16 points. Mm-hmm. Dude, you can average 16 points
on that team.
You can average 16 and 10. That's
like when healthy, those two guys are like top 5 best players in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, like,
seriously.
KD's at 25-5-6 or 25-7-7. Kyrie's at 20, and he goes crazy on assists some games. And then Ben Simmons is at 16, and you're literally asking the rest of your team to put together like 30 points.
Yeah, just rebound,
rebound and shoot open shots.
Yeah,
it makes. Yeah, I mean it's.
And they got Seth Curry to come off the bench or even to start a couple games. Like seriously,
he's really good. When they are missing one guy, when Kyrie, perfect example. When he's not playing, man.
And they got Andre Drummond. People keep sleeping, but they needed a. They don't have a.
Well, Nicholas Claxton is very good.
Yeah,
he's young though.
Yeah,
he's young and.
But Andre Drummond to kind of be a.
Him and Robert, I think it's Robert. Yeah, Robert Williams on the Celtics are the two best young.
Yeah.
Outside of like
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Yeah, I'm really happy for him. Which, yeah, well, just to throw it out there mid-conversation, I think it's really silly how the NBA All-Star works, though. How, like, when one goes, we just keep going. You get an All-Star. You get an All-Star. It's like, I mean, right now, like, if we're being realistic, he's like the 17th best, 20th best player in the league. Like, it's not, but it happens in injuries and people like taking the weekend off.
Mm-hmm. And, but I seriously think both teams just needed different pieces, and I don't know, it just fit. It just fit for both of them. Once healthy, I think these two teams are going to see each other in the conference finals. Seriously believe that. Because Joel Embiid's MVP.
I think the Nets lose second round.
Really?
I really do.
Can't see KD. Can't see if KD's fully healthy going to the playoffs.
I think he's the greatest player in the world when he's fully healthy. Like,
it's number one player.
Yeah.
It's the dude's shooting like 80% from field goal.
Yeah, I mean he's
then 40% from 3-pointer.
Yeah, and then if you're guarding up top, then he'll just dunk on you because he's 6'11".
Then Ben Simmons can just cut.
Yeah, well that's what I'm thinking though, man. Is like, I mean, you could run small ball. Think about this. I mean, there's so many. There's the amount of athletes they have on that team between Claxton and Blake Griffin. They can come in, but you could run small ball with Kyrie at the 1, Seth at the 2, KD at the 3, Simmons at the 4, Andre Drummond or Claxton at the 5. Or you could run a little, smaller even than that would be Blake Griffin. I mean, that team is, like, Steve Nash has, like, literally a 2K team to play with.
It'll be interesting how Steve Nash actually coaches and all this. It's hard. Like I said this a couple weeks ago, I feel like the art of coaching in basketball is kind of depleting with how many superstars and how many super teams. It's like, all right, just play basketball, guys.
There's some good examples of that not
because almost every
true,
single team runs kind of like the same motion offense.
Yeah.
I heard that in the JJ Redick podcast.
For sure. Oh, I love his podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, great podcast. That dude can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess agree to disagree. I think we're back, and what I was going to give the examples is, to me, two, which would be one, I'm going to flip it, one would be Lakers with Frank Reich, that I think it's unfair to blame him necessarily, mainly a lot of LeBron-run teams are like...
You mean Frank Vogel?
Vogel, oh my god, I said Frank Reich, not the
Reich.
Colts coach.
I was like, wait.
No, yeah, oh my god. That they have all of the players. I mean, they're older, but they have everything, so that's when we're like, I have to watch more Lakers games to like really have a factual opinion, but that's one where it's like, I don't know who to blame. Is it the players or is it the coach? Because with those amount of players, you would think any great coach could piece together like a top 3 team right now. But, and then like I was saying, like flipping it is like Steve Kerr in the 2015, I think it's 15-16 Warriors is the perfect example of like great coaching. Just small ball. 2 really overthought dudes, Steph Curry from Davidson, Clay from Wazoo, like Iguodala. Just super unthought of, running super small ball. Iggy played center for half of the finals with Andrew Bogut getting like 15 minutes a game, and Sean Livingston. Just like that's a good example of great coaching. But I agree. It is just a lot of off-ball screens, pick and rolls, and it's a lot of very similar things. But yeah, I think that it's far out, and I don't want to make it super hot take, but that if the Nets don't make it to the conference finals, I think hiring a head coach with 0 coaching experience has to be brought into the conversation. Has to be.
Yeah.
When that Nets team originally was pieced together, people were literally pissed saying that they were going to win 3 straight championships. They didn't win 1.
Yeah.
They didn't make it to the playoffs. In fact, the Big 3 played, 16 games together. 16. So that Big 3 that was supposed to go win 3 rings and mess up the league and run the East for half a decade played 16 games together. And they were, I think they were scoring 130-something points a game. 130-something points a game when they were together. But, between Kyrie and the mandates and KD and injuries and James Harden injuries and sitting out nights when they could have all played together, it was really clear pretty early, I would think, that it wasn't going to work.
I guess kind of on the coaching thing, shout out, I want to give credit to, Chauncey Billups right now. Quick laser talk. We blew it all up, so one of the rules I said was once they blow up, I'm going to be a little bit more invested.
Yeah.
It's obviously not going to be the best
these
year.
guys look like, and future of the team.
I obviously know it's going to be assets to trade, try to trade for a better guy. But man, 3 straight wins versus the Lakers, a crazy ending. I watched the next game.
Was so crazy.
The next game shut them out with 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Beat Milwaukee?
And we just beat Milwaukee with a...
Dang.
Dude, Anthony Simons looks like the real deal. I don't know if...
I love him.
Yeah.
I've been Anthony Simons since his IMG days, dude. I'm a big fan.
He's a straight baller. He is so comfortable now. And Josh Hart was such a great addition. Dude, he's such a good pair with Simons. It is insane.
He is.
He's just shooting. He's like 4 for 7 from 3, and he's scoring 27 points.
It's funny because I don't know how good he did before you trade him, but it gives me like a Norman Powell vibes. When at one point that was like the meanest little thing ever.
Yeah.
When Dame could go like that and kick it to Norman Powell, but obviously,
he was a prolific shooter. But also hopefully. Norman Powell gets better. He just got a fractured foot.
I know.
Broke his foot. Hopefully he gets better. But, man, I really wish we kind of lost so we could have a better draft pick. But I just love seeing these guys develop. Also the McLemore guy or something, the core.
Is it Ben?
Ben, yeah.
Yeah, he's all Warrior.
Yeah, he's a shooter.
Yeah, he was,
Nurkic's playing great basketball. He's getting rebounds.
I didn't realize, too, that you guys lost 7 straight before those 2 wins.
It was insane.
So it is a big turnaround. And beating the Lakers in Milwaukee in 1 week is it's something not a lot of teams can say they do.
Yeah. I feel like it was weird, how much we blew up, and it looked like the chemistry was there, and Chauncey Billups making the adjustments, and defensively we looked so solid, and just offensively with the ball movement. So the past couple games when I watched, the ball movement's been ridiculous, and that was the thing what I missed, and I wanted the Blazers to do because I felt that was a missing piece for us. We weren't working the ball.
And I think that, it's not fair to blame Dame, but I think that the best seasons you guys had, obviously it was when Dame was just walking up, pulling up from half court, but there was an offense built around it. Yeah. No, but I'm saying, it was, but,
Wesley Matthew Day.
Yes, like,
dude, that was like the most depressing summer of my entire life when Marcus Aldridge left. And everyone, dude, I had that jersey, I burned it. I was so sad. Because him and Brandon Roy, yeah. But yeah, the grit on this team, I'm loving it. It's fun. It's very new, something fresh, a change. Just I want to change, and it makes me want to watch it. It's not. I
think it's really, really good for you guys though too, because as you build and head towards next year, draft picks, trades, you have to know what you're working with here, and
obviously Lillard's within talks. And
yes,
he's within the, for office. He's trying to help, trying to get those guys
for sure.
Which I'm loving how our office is doing that. It's not like he's out in the dust like.
I agree. But I think that's the most important thing right now for them is like see what we're going to work with in this off season and then start playing like GM's going to have a fun time and I watched the end of the Warriors game last night. They kind of crumbled in the second half. Steph had 26 in the first quarter. Or first half. He had 4 3-pointers in the first quarter. Just going nuts. But Warriors have dropped 3 of the last 4. So only wins to the Lakers. They barely won then. Hoping they can catch a win tomorrow or tonight when you guys are watching against the Nuggets. Really, really big news. And there's nothing wrong. It's like, they're the number 2 team in basketball. Yeah. You have little slumps. You play.
It's a long season.
Play 82 games. But James, just really, really big news is James Wiseman cleared for 5-on-5.
Really?
So that's really big. He was cleared for 3-on-3, which is obviously a little lesser because it's not running full court. But cleared for 5-on-5, I would say would give about a 30-day timeline. He's not playing 5-on-5 full court for 2 months. Like the goal would be to fit him back last month and a half before playoffs, and then see how much he can be in a rotation in the playoffs. But between him and Kayvon Looney's very good, but he needs that break. We need if Wiseman, he probably wouldn't be the starter immediately. He's going to work his way back in, but goddamn, Looney is really good, but he can't play the whole game. If that's a double-headed monster of just kind of switching and then Iguodala comes back, and I'm excited for that. But yeah.
NBA.
It's going to pick up a lot next week.
Yeah.
We're going to have a super episode next week, probably a week from today.
Yeah. Before we go on, I think we'll just probably do one episode a week on Wednesdays with no NFL because that's kind of like the meat and potatoes.
For sure.
16 game, it's just a lot.
All-Star break coming up too. It'll be a lot. Definitely, I think we'll jump back up to 2 when we hit March Madness and when we hit Stanley Cup because I'm going to make you watch hockey. Yeah. And then Stanley Cup playoffs, it's another thing where everything is just amped up and so much more fun. But it basically goes March Madness, Stanley Cup. And then it really dies, but cool down for a little bit, talk some NBA, and more UFC talks for sure. We'll do little fight nights even, throw them in at the end of.
Yeah. Let's go into
Jump into it?
Yeah, UFC 271, such a fun card.
So good.
I think the biggest talk about was Derek Lewis going down in Houston.
Yeah. Second round.
Hometown guy.
He was 2-0 and before in the same arena, Toyota Center.
A minute or so before the knockout, it shows
live odds.
What's it, the live odds of
2-2 Visa.
Yeah, it's like a plus almost 300, 275 or 375. Yeah, and then all of a sudden elbow boom
for elbow. Lewis he was out for a minute too. It wasn't like his legs. No, it was like he was out cold.
Yeah, it's insane. It shows it's unlike any other sport where it's like one hit, even if you're brutally knocked out, if you're the most bloody person, if you get that one hit
and the other person falls over, it's over. And there's no other sport like it because there's no other sport where screw the other 2 quarters.
1 second comeback.
Yeah, seriously, 1 second you can go from a plus 400 to it's over.
Yep.
Cash
all right,
out.
You won.
But one of my favorite things about it, and then really we'll get to the championship fight in a second, but one other one I really just want to throw in there is Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson, and Brunson really was winning that first round, really looked super good, and then Cannonier just hits him,
that was insane.
That was really crazy one.
Stamina.
Yeah.
He was, depleted instantly.
Yeah,
I don't remember names, but the guy who was going crazy the first round.
Yes. It
just ran out.
Yeah, and that's another crazy thing though is you could be 4th round and have full stamina, but headshots. It's a thing in this sport where you get hit in the head and your stamina goes out the window. When your knees start wobbling and your eyes are blurry, you don't have that 4 rounds of stamina left. Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's both look really good and you got hit once and
dude
looks different, but Should we talk about Isreal Adesanya real quick?
Yeah.
So just I don't know the numbers, and we talked about Fighter Pay all the time, but he just signed the biggest contract in the history of mixed martial arts, which will never come out what it is because that's how the UFC works. But
really?
It's never fully public. Anything that we see is mostly guessing. But it's the biggest contract ever. So pay-per-view percentage, which is always for champions, you get part of the pay-per-view buys. But it's his actual per fight check, which is the biggest ever. Which I mean, at one point Khabib was making $1 million or $2 million a fight, so I would think it's really, really big. I would think. I mean, I couldn't. I don't know. I could be so off guessing, but I would say it's probably like 5 fights, $20 million. Like it's probably like very sweet money plus pay per view, which is a good look for them. I mean, you still have 200 more fighters you're paying like dirt, but it's a good look to pay your big guys.
Does it go in kind of like the right direction where it's like kind of like the NFL where it's like those higher contracts like Patrick Mahomes deal where now quarterbacks were
Russell Wilson before him
they start comparing because that's what happens. They compare and they're like, all right, I'm compared to Patrick Mahomes, I'm leading more yards and all this.
And it's going to start where these lower pack guys can be like, okay, if you're going to triple Isreal Adesanya's contract, you have to double mine. Like I'm not going to sign the same you did. So it's good for the sport. I think part of it is, I mean, like Chael Sonnen is like my favorite person to listen to for anything UFC related. Has a perfect example, and he's like Dana White is it's a really funny quote, and you're gonna laugh at it, but Dana White is the most hated, generous man in the world, and he keeps talking about like there's a lot of things that I agree where it's like he doesn't have to give $50,000 fight night bonus. He doesn't have to change and throw contracts out the window and people complain. Technically speaking, you sign those, and like I don't think the whole not paying them a lot is right, but like at the end of the day, these athletes are getting with their agents and agreeing and signing. Yeah. So
it'll be really interesting with the Khabib one. Though.
It will, but even with Bellator, which is in America, and ONE FC in China, it's the next 5 years. I mean, this is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. MMA is, and UFC is like probably the fastest growing sports company. But it'll be really interesting to see like what are we gonna. How's this going to end? Yeah. Is it going to end with people slowly leaving and this kind of getting diluted? Or is it going to end with the UFC being like, all right, we're all billionaires. How about we step up our pay and really shove money down these dudes' throats and see if they're willing to stay?
Yeah. It was such a fun card. Such a fun card. You know, Izzy just a beast.
And then we're almost a month out from the next pay-per-view, which is a really rare one. It's just throwing out two names. Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. So two legends of the sport. They used to be fighting partners. But that we're almost a month out from that. And
then I just saw something Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz.
Yeah, so that's one that they're hoping to get signed. I don't even want to talk about it until it's signed because it was supposed to happen.
I thought it just got signed.
Like today though.
Like literally the other day.
No, because it's been It was talked about that it could have been on that card, the one we watched the other day.
Because I just saw something that was like it's confirmed, like they're gonna play, like fight, but. I don't know, it was like literally a couple days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago it says he wants him in the summer, nothing's signed yet. Until it's signed, which is money and dates, it's so hard to talk about. Okay. But, should we wrap it up with a...
Intermural talk? So we didn't talk about it last Wednesday because we...
Got a little oopsies.
We got blown up at like 28 or something. I don't know. Or maybe like 40. It was a pretty bad beat.
I think it was 29 or something.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Those guys, they were like JUCO wannabes. I'll be
literally like they're now in the competitive league.
Yeah, they got pushed up.
Fun and rec. Like this is.
They just said they wanted to have fun and they just wanted no competition. Really.
Yeah.
And we had to make obviously there were some roster changes and.
We had a little roster change and come out smoking red hot.
Yeah, we
started the game 16-2.
Yeah, 16-2.
I mean, like we came out. It was 14-0 at one point.
Yeah, it was ridiculous last night. We won by like 30?
30? I think it was like 34.
Yeah, 34?
Because we had Mercy roll with 2 minutes left,
yes.
so got to head home early.
That happened to us last week.
So, our goal this week was to make it happen to the team we played, as we did.
Great. We were ice cold last week, on fire. Scored 60 points, no big deal.
Yeah, I had 8. Raz had 18.
Yeah, 18.
Kimmy and McKay were both so good, and we really just played as a team. Like, it really was team basketball.
Yeah. Like, and defense, our 2-3, we hit the 2-3 zone, had like 3 turnovers in a row, started the half, it was insane.
We came out in the second half up 17 running a full court press. So
that was a little mean.
I know, the ref was like, dude, you guys are up 26.
It was super fun. I think one of my favorite plays is someone, like, we're on defense and they lose a ball. I pick it up, but I'm kind of losing it. I throw it up in the air. It goes up. No, and it goes up, comes down. Some guy starts running at me. I throw it behind, like, I hit it behind him.
Oh, yeah.
I grab it, and I'm, like, almost like a 3-point, like, half-court line. I chuck it to Raz, and he hits it.
He hits it.
Like, with the
alley-oop. We had so much fun at the end of that game.
So much fun.
Just throwing lobs. And
Silly.
that's what it's meant for. Like, we played against a bunch of graduate students, so you're allowed to play as an alum or grad. But everyone had fun. We had music. My friend Robert brought music. They were super nice after. We talked to them. It was, as long as it's fun, that's the goal. It's not fun, but we try to win, too.
Yeah, we always want to win. Like,
yeah, it's the competitive side of me. I don't want to lose anything.
No. But, it was just like super relaxing, super fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I love balling out. I mean, started the third quarter, they sagged off. Your swag's off. Drain that three.
Hit some 3 balls. Like, I mean, it was a hell of a game. So
yeah. And then what? Next game? What order predictions? I don't even know. It's supposed to be Wednesday.
Yeah, it's next Wednesday. There's no school on Monday.
Yeah.
I think we play the team we saw play before. I think it's gonna be real closer because that one blonde girl's really good. Like that's a good team but I think we win again. Like I think we get Tyler back, have a little more rotation.
Yeah, we only had run like
7.
We had a 7-man.
Which it was fine. I mean, it worked really. Yeah. It worked fine. No one was super exhausted. But like, and I mean this with all disrespect. Or with all respect.
Oh, wait, hold up.
Take it back. I mean this with all respect, but like, if we're playing a better team, we're going to be playing more defense. And I'm not going to, like there was multiple times where we just like stood at half court when they had a fast break. Because I'm like, we're up 40. Like, I'm not going to chase. But if we're playing a really solid team and running zone and they're like playing really good I'd prefer an 8th person. So, but I think we win.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think next episode, since we play Wednesday night, it's either we record afterwards, so maybe it'll be up Thursday.
It might, yeah.
Depending
about that.
Wednesday or Thursday, next episode should be up. So hopefully everyone liked this video. Whatever you're watching on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And
hit the like button.
Yeah, comment.
Give us some tips. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll love it.
Take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, have a great day. See ya.